Sense? Oh, nice. Mine soothes right off the back. So we are currently running a we are currently running a 7 Theater of Pain. Watch that frontal. So I would recommend tanking these guys off to the side, just because there's going to be poison out of these guys. You want to make sure that you keep the poison off to the side. And be careful not to bait the poison behind where your melee are. You don't want to trap them in any corners or on the complete edge of the map. Watch that Necrotic Bolt cast. The Necrotic Bolt is the only interrupt during this boss fight, so you want to make sure that you are getting the interrupt on Necrotic Bolt. Decaying Breath. Step out of the Decaying Breath. Necrotic Bolt again. Now, keep in mind, you want these guys to die relatively close together, because every time one dies, the others gain 5% increase damage.
My power is transcendent.
Run out.
Share in it.
Careful with the frontal. Make sure you're interrupting that Necrotic Bolt. Mighty Smash is going to be your tank buster. Use a defensive during Mighty Smash. Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. Mighty Smash reduces the party's movement speed. Let's look really quick at what the tank buster is called. Mortal Strike. Mortal Strike is the tank buster. You want to make sure you're using defensive during Mortal Strike.
I need to get closer.
Mighty Smash. The boss is going to smash down on the ground and reduce everybody's movement speed by 30%. So be careful with your reduced movement speed. Make sure that you're not standing in the frontal, because the frontal is going to be harder to get out of with reduced movement speed. As a Death Knight, you can use Death's Advance to void that cast and to move faster again. We are going down below.
Now that the preliminaries are over, the real trials can begin.
As soon as we go down below, we are going to go down the banner boss first. Banner room first. Now the reason we go down the banner room first is because the banner room actually has set percent. You have to pull everything inside of the banner room. So you want to make sure that you... That's just the reason that I go down the banner room first. Just to make sure that I have a base for percent before we go down the other rooms. And you can't exactly make up percent if you're wrong in the banner room. You can in the other rooms. I'm inventing a new rotation. It's called Press the Buttons Off Cooldown. Savage Fury. Careful with Savage Flurry.
Run.
Whirlwind. Step out of the Whirlwind. So remember, when you walk into these rooms, there's going to be a short roleplay where the two ads are attacking each other and then one kills the other ad. You can actually go ahead and start the roleplay early. If you do start the roleplay early, it doesn't change which boss kills which. The one boss is going to kill the other boss regardless. So you want to just go ahead, start the roleplay like the shaman did, and then that way the boss is ready when you're going down here. I would be careful pulling the boss into the small hallways though, because if your party follows you into those small hallways, they could get stuck with spinning axes or with the AoE damage. Whirlwind again. Interrupting Roar. During the Interrupting Roar cast, you want to stop casting for 2 seconds while the cast goes off. The interrupting roar is going to silence you as a caster. So you want to make sure that you are not silenced by the interrupting roar, and you just take a second to let the interrupting roar go through. %20 left on the boss.
Run.
Whirlwind, step out of the whirlwind. Interrupting roar again.
My power is transcendent. Share in it.
Be
Run.
careful with the ads. Alright, so we are going to try... We're going to try to mind control the captain.
Interrupt.
Come on. Won't let me mind control the captain. I can mind control the little guy. That's right, we'll take it. We'll take the little guy mind control.
Got some meat
But I cannot mind control the captain. Okay, so sorry. Oh, I just destroyed the demon hunter. No, I'm pretty sure the boss walked up and hit you. I pulled it, then it hit you. So sorry for the super delayed response. That last round was intense.
Run.
A gift of power.
You see, I do like how you're walking through it all in voice, though. It gives them old memories of doing Shadowlands. Thank you. In this dungeon, I know very well, because this
Run.
dungeon I actually ran a lot. This was considered one of the harder dungeons, I think. So people pugged it a lot, and people pugged tanks a lot. So this was actually one of the easier dungeons for me to get into. So I ran this dungeon a lot. So I actually really like the... Right, can't summon a goal if you have a mind-controlled person. But I actually really like this dungeon. And the last round was very intense. But we managed to pull through and time it. Waiting for our last guy. Alright, pulling the boss.
You had best make this interesting.
Again, you always want to make sure that your healer has mana.
Defensive.
Before the storm.
Generally, I try to make sure that the healer has at least 80% mana,
Attack totem.
with the exception of monks, druids, and paladins.
Watch your step.
Monks, druids, and paladins, I'll give them probably 70, 60% mana. Unless they specifically ask for mana. If they ask for mana, then I give them a second until they say they're ready.
You.
A gift.
Careful with the blood and glory.
Defensive.
Before the storm.
The blood and glory is going to
Attack
choose
totem.
2 random players and throw them down into the pit. These 2 random players have 45 seconds to duel down in the pit. So the winner is going to get 10% increased damage. The loser is going to have his damage reduced by
Watch your
10%.
step.
And if neither one wins in the 45 seconds that they are given, they both get reduced damage by 10%. Run out of the circle. So you always want to focus the banner.
Attack totem.
As soon as that banner comes up,
Defensive.
turn and focus the banner. What the banner is going to do is the banner is going to reduce your movement speed by 30%. And the
Watch
banner's
your
effect
step.
does stack, so the longer it takes you to kill the banner, the more your movement speed is reduced.
My power is transcendent.
Careful with those circles.
Share in it.
You. Show me what you can.
Blood and glory again. Picks 2 random players, throws them down in the pit.
Attack totem. Defensive.
Careful with the banner.
No equal.
I have CDs, cries the hunter.
Watch
And it
your
looks like our
step.
demon hunter gave him his CDs. Not gave him the CDs, gave him the win. Careful with the circle. Make sure you're running out of the circle. Watch the line. So Crushing Slam, this line is going to do a frontal, it's like a frontal of damage. So unlike the
Attack
cone
totem.
or the circle that he has, the
Defensive.
other cast is just a line. The line picks a random player and shoots in that player's direction. So you want to be very careful and make
Watch
sure that
your
you
step.
are out of that line. Defending crash, out of the crash. Massive cleave, out of the cleave. Massive cleave again.
Fight for glory!
He smashed the priest. The boss has 4% health. Most likely the
Attack
boss will be
totem.
dead before these two get back up here, but
Defensive.
we will continue to fight we'll fight the banner just in case. Nah, we should have stayed on the boss probably. I think the
Watch
healer's
your
doing damage
step.
to the boss with us.
For my might!
That's alright, these guys got it. They'll finish off the boss right now.
Our challengers have passed
Now,
the
it does tell you in the chat there, the incidents updated the respawn location, but it did not. The respawn location is still here in the center. Every time you release here, you're going to release here in the center. So you want to be careful, and we killed my ad. I forgot to remind control it.
Mortal lives are so fleeting, so fragile.
You know what, it's actually a good thing to take the slow off the Death and Decay, because we were slowing the shackles guys on our way through that area. I didn't even think about that. Is that ad going to be a problem? Do I still have the ad out?
It is too far away.
Oh, now it's off. Put it back on our mind control. Okay, be careful with the Soul Storm. Never mind, I did not lose my ad. It's still around. Careful with these blind souls. Make sure that you're using interrupts or CCs on the blind soul.
I need a target.
Yeah, that's the way we wanted to go. Now, Pandemonium was actually our healer, so we did just take that portal into this fight without a healer. But I think that's okay, because Bone Spear is the only thing that really does damage to you on this fight. As long as we get the interrupts on Bone Spear, we should be fine. Now, Bone Spear can one-shot you, so you do want to make sure that you're getting the interrupt on Bone Spear every time.
A target.
And these guys are CCable or interruptible. You can either use CCs or interrupts on them. Alright, pulling the guys in the center. Bone Spear, make sure you're interrupting Bone Spear. Now, last time we pulled a bunch of the guys off to the side, and we actually ended up 3% over in the end. I want to say we don't need to do that. I mean, it was an accident last time, but I don't believe we need to do that. Okay, let's see. So we're actually going to skip that. And over here on the platform, we are going to skip left. That's okay. We're going to skip that. So that gives us 100% exactly. Okay, that should be good. We're going to write out this map when we're done, just to be
Watch your
safe.
step.
Share in it.
Like, so that we don't forget it
Watch
type
your
thing.
step.
I need to get closer.
Be careful with the Death Winds. Make sure you're not standing in the Death Winds.
Watch your
And
step.
make sure you are interrupting the Spirit Frost.
Watch your step.
Now, I would recommend going down the Tornado Path
Watch your step.
if you guys are getting interrupts. If you guys need help with interrupts, I would recommend going down the... Oh, dang.
Watch your
I
step.
simply wish you had lasted a little longer.
Other path. My ad's gonna kill everybody because I died.
Watch your step.
Nice. Never mind. Maiad is not going to kill everybody
your
because
step.
they're smart. So when I flew off the edge because of the tornado, because I didn't step right or left, I just stood in the tornado. The Demon Hunter was able to hold aggro on the ads for a second before the Shaman dropped his golem. After the Shaman dropped his golem, it pulled aggro on the first ad, and then the smashing guy went and pulled aggro as well. So our Demon Hunter was able to hold aggro long enough that the Shaman was able to clean up the pull with his golem.
Watch your step.
So that actually worked out for us. Make sure you're interrupting Spirit Frost. And then while the Shaman and the Demon Hunter were tanking that pull,
Watch your
the
step.
Hunter ran over and used his,
Of power.
I don't know, shock engineer things to res me.
Watch your step.
Death Winds, be careful with the Death Winds. Spirit Bolt, make sure you're interrupting Spirit Bolt.
Watch your step.
19% left on the boss. 12%. Well, this isn't a boss. On the mini boss. So it does actually say we're 1 minute behind here. But I think we're okay. Pretty sure. It looks like we're doing fine on time still. So they put a marker down. That must be where they want us to stack. Also, do not stand in the hands. The hands no longer grab the spirit. Now what the hands are going to do is they're going to one-shot you. So these hands that appear in the doorway, do not stand in them. Watch the orbs. Well of Darkness. If the Well of Darkness is on you, make sure you're using a defensive. There's a frontal now on the tank, so if you do have a specific marked location for everybody to stack, be careful not to put your frontal down the marked location. Also, the boss does not do AoE damage if you walk away from it. I tested. So you are okay to walk away from the boss for a second to help with the ads. Wells. Well of Darkness. Careful with the Well of Darkness.
Of power.
See, Healer Mechanic, Well of Darkness. So what the Well of Darkness is going to do is it's going to attach darkness onto the player for 6 seconds, and it's going to pulse 810,000 shadow damage to players within 4 yards. So you want to make sure you're using a defensive during that cast. Frontal. Oh, don't step on the Shadow Priest with that. Necrotic Bolt needs to be interrupted. You can either interrupt it as an individual player or... Hold on, stack the arrows again. Or you can organize the interrupts so that everybody gets an interrupt on the Necrotic Bolt and you don't have to worry about is it going to be interrupted just when it's your turn to interrupt it. Well of Darkness, spread out with the Well of Darkness. Make sure you're interrupting the Necrotic Bolt. Watch that frontal again. 37% left on the boss. Again, Necrotic Bolt needs to be interrupted.
Of power.
Careful with the eruption again. 25% left on this boss. So sadly, we lost our mind control guy because when we died, our mind control guy became unmind controlled. And by the time we got up, he had so many dots on him that he was dead either way. So, we did lose our mind control guy. But we accidentally skipped Gorchop. No, we didn't skip Gorchop. We always go this way first. Okay, maybe we're like a little bit behind on time, but we're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it up really fast.
Another trial down. Looks like we might have some real
We are currently running a
contenders here.
7 Theater of Pain. We have 14 minutes left, 2 bosses, and 40%-ish. I say ish because it's not actually 47%. Or it's not actually
Look what we
40%. It's like a little bit less than that.
fresh
Oops.
meat.
Make sure you're getting the interrupt on the small guy. That guy back there. The blighted sludge sewer guy. This guy needs to be interrupted every time. He is going to put a poison on everybody. That is actually specifically why we got a shaman, because the shaman and his poison should be able to clear it. But just in case, you want to make sure that you are interrupting that cast anyways. Now, I would not recommend pulling the second pull until that guy is dead with his decaying filth. So, yeah, I would be careful with that guy. Also, you can no longer use the banners. So, no more buff from the banners. Going down the hall. Pulling the putrid butcher. Decaying filth. So, I'm going to mark the decaying filth just because when there are two decaying filths like this, it is still it's equally as important to interrupt these guys as it was to interrupt them in the last room. They're actually the same ads from the last room, you just don't have a choice, you have to pull two of them.
A gift of power.
Alright, we're going to be more careful to skip this time. We're not going to accidentally pull the ads. This ad got here first, so this ad is going to walk away first. So as soon as he's clear of that corner, we're just going to walk. You don't have to go around. As soon as he clears the doorway, we should be able to walk straight through the doorway. Just go straight through the doorway and don't look back. Okay, he's not following us. I look back. Okay, be careful of the diseased horror. The diseased horror is going to cast Decaying Strike. And this Decaying Strike is going to put a 19-second dot on you that deals 81,000 plague damage every 2 seconds and reduces your maximum health by 5%. Can I mind control that guy? Oh, nice. We can mind control that guy. That's probably gonna be bad later, but right now that's totally fine because never mind a debuff on the enemies. You know? Alright, we're gonna pull the guy down the hallway and the two guys on the sides. So if you can't pull these two guys and this guy here, you can actually throw something out to bait in the guys jumping out of the walls. Or to grab this rancid gas bag just before he walks out of range.
Watch your step.
A gift of
Careful with the frontal.
power.
That's his name. So, you want to
Watch
pull
your
this
step.
rancid gas bag to somewhere safe where your party can avoid the frontal and the... Should we call it the unfrontal? Careful with the rancid gas bag. There is a way you can aim
Watch
him,
your
I just
step.
don't remember how. So for right now, just be careful not to stand in the puke. Alright, healer is getting a res. Pulling the guys at the end of the hall. If you do pull the guys who jump out of the wall and the big guys separately, you can pull the two guys who jump out of the wall with these guys on the end. They don't deal a lot of damage to you. They deal a lot of damage to you, but not like... They're not going to one-shot you. The ad that pukes is why that fight is so hard, because when you're killing the little ads, they leave poison on the floor, and you can't avoid the poison on the floor and the puke at the same time. That's why that combination is hard, because you're filling in the floor with the poison from the ads on the walls. So you can actually pull the ads on the walls with these guys or these guys with the other ad, doesn't matter. Just sometimes it's hard to avoid the dots. Okay, on the boss.
And tear. I'll catch something good.
Careful with Gore
Defensive.
Chop. Hateful Strike is going to be your tank buster. You want to make sure you're using defensive.
Run.
And be careful with that Tenderizing Smash. You don't want to accidentally move the boss into the opening too soon because that
Defensive.
smash will throw your party members into the opening. Into the chains, right? So once the opening is clear,
I'm out of range.
Defensive.
Too far away.
More spare parts.
A gift.
Run.
Pieces.
test.
Defensive.
I don't know why the headphones are doing that right now. They actually reset. Careful with the poison.
I'll catch something good.
Defensive.
Hateful Strike is the tank buster. So anti-magic shell actually does avoid that tank buster. It is magic damage, so you can use your anti-magic shell on it. The gas bags targets random, by the way.
Defensive.
It does front and back. It used to target tank, but now it's random. Gotcha. So that's why you used to be able to control it, was because it used to target the tank.
Run.
That is good to know. Thank you, heals.
Defensive.
Careful with the chains.
I'll catch something good.
Run.
Tenderizing Smash. Careful with the Tenderizing Smash. So
Defensive.
we are going to pull the leftovers into the opening.
My power is
Now be very careful where you're killing all these using leftovers because they do actually leave poison behind on the ground, so you want to make sure you're not killing them where they're going to fill up your map.
Run.
I need to get closer.
Yeah, that is good to know though, but knowing that it targets a random player,
Defensive.
hypothetically, everybody could stand near a wall and his puke would always be at a diagonal, right?
Right.
So it would always be away from everybody if everybody's stacked.
Defensive.
Too far away.
Okay, after this boss fight, you can go through the door with the chains to get to the next area.
Our challenges have
We currently have
conquered
5 minutes left and we
it's
still need
time
6%.
for the final round.
Ooh, our gore guy.
Return to the central chamber.
Okay.
It's time
Our
to
gore guy
begin
should port up
the
here, I think.
main event.
Run for your life, priest. It's gonna port on us.
Soldiers of Maldraxxus, are you ready for some carnage?
Ad has me in combat, can't drink.
Stars now face
Okay.
the longest reigning champion the Theater of Pain has ever known.
Well, let's pour some more ads while we wait then. We'll wait for you to come out of combat and we'll wait for the ad to spawn up here. So this is kinda just like a little bit bad there. The diseased horror ad got stuck in limbo and was not coming upstairs, and it was keeping our healer in combat, so he was unable to drink, which was not ideal. But that's okay. As soon as we kill him now, then the healer will be able to drink and we will be good to finish off the boss and we'll be done. That is true. Only issue would be movement and green puke he leaves on the floor.
I need a target.
Fair. We would all have to agree on the spots to move. That might make things a little complicated. Healer says, lusting at 50%.
Behold my power and despair.
Defensive.
Reaping Scythe. That is going to be your tank buster. Make sure you're using defensive during Reaping Scythe.
Stay away from lines.
Watch the frontal.
Beyond your mortal ken.
A gift.
Run.
Itself demands your soul.
Grasping Rift.
Run out.
You want to be careful not to get pulled into the Grasping Rift.
Defensive.
The Grasping Rift is a one-shot. If you get... I missed my defensive.
Interrupt.
If you get pulled into the Grasping Rift, you will get one shot and die.
Stay away from lines.
Frontal.
Beyond your mortal ken.
Defensive.
Reaping Scythe again.
Run.
2 chested 7 Rookery. That dungeon seems free. Is it? That's actually awesome. Let's see. My current best Rookery is
Defensive.
a 1, 2, 3, 4. Is a +2, 4.
Stay away from lines.
But congratulations on 2 chesting a 7. That's huge.
Run out.
Careful with those circles. Make sure you spread out with those circles. Pulling all the ads in together.
Interrupt.
Death Bolt. Make sure you're interrupting or ceasing Death Bolt. Oh boy.
Defensive.
I was trying to help the healer out, but he moved his circle.
Stay away from
Okay,
lines.
watch the guys who charge across the map. Remember, there are 4 guys. So you want to just glance and see where all 4 guys are charging from, and make sure you're not standing in the line of where any of those 4 guys are coming
Run.
through. Grasping Rift again. Look for
Run
their
out.
Grasping Rift. Make sure you are not standing on top of it.
Defensive.
Reaping Scythe is the tank buster. Death
Interrupt.
Bolt. The
Stay
first
away
Death
from
Bolt
lines.
after the ads. Dang. Hold on. That was really bad.
Defensive. Run.
Itself demands your souls.
So, ads were up. We pulled the ads together.
Stay away from lines.
After we pulled the ads together, the bulls started to run through. The bulls, as they were running through, the boss started his cast of his beam on one side and was turning around to the other.
Run out.
Right as he got about halfway around his circle, the entire
Defensive.
party was standing between the bulls and his line there. So his line, when it finished going over our heads,
Run.
we then got pulled by the... As it finished going over our heads, we also got pulled by the portal. So basically, the portal pulled us between the line and the ads and killed 3 members of our party. But we still managed to time our 7th Theater of Pain with 51 seconds.